Imagine a single moment, a clash of steel, a decision made under immense pressure that reverberates through centuries, shaping the world we inhabit today. History is not a smooth, continuous river. It's punctuated by rapids, turbulent events that forever alter its course. These are the battles that didn't just decide wars. They determined the fate of civilizations, the spread of ideas, and the very fabric of our societies. We often think of history as a series of inevitable events, a preordained march towards the present. But what if a different arrow had found its mark? What if a crucial charge had faltered? What if a cunning strategy had been overlooked? The world we know could be drastically different. Consider, for a moment, the subtle influences that shape your daily life. The language you speak, the laws that govern you, the cultural norms you adhere to, all are, in some way, legacies of battles fought long ago. The freedoms you enjoy, the technologies you use, even the food you eat, might trace their origins back to the outcomes of conflicts that seem distant and abstract. We are all, in a sense, living in the shadow of these pivotal moments, whether we realize it or not. The narratives we tell ourselves about the past inform our present and shape our future aspirations. Understanding these turning points is not just an academic exercise. It's a crucial step in understanding ourselves and the world around us. This isn't just another recounting of famous battles. We're not simply interested in the tactics employed or the generals who commanded. Instead, we aim to delve deeper, to explore the profound and lasting consequences of these conflicts. We'll examine how they reshaped political landscapes, spurred technological innovation, and influenced the very course of human thought. We'll look beyond the battlefield to understand the social, economic, and cultural forces that were unleashed in the wake of these decisive encounters. We'll consider how these battles served as catalysts for change, accelerating existing trends or setting entirely new ones in motion. Many battles are remembered for their sheer scale, the number of combatants involved, or the ferocity of the fighting. But true turning points are defined by their impact, their ability to alter the trajectory of history in a significant and enduring way. A seemingly minor skirmish can have far-reaching consequences, while a massive and bloody conflict might ultimately prove to be a mere footnote in the grand scheme of things. Our focus is on those battles that truly mattered, those that irrevocably altered the balance of power and shaped the world we live in today. We will journey through time, exploring conflicts from ancient history to the modern era. Each battle will be examined not only for its military significance, but also for its broader implications. We'll consider the perspectives of the victors and the vanquished, the long-term effects on the populations involved, and the ripple effects that spread across continents and through generations. This is a journey into the heart of human conflict, a quest to understand the moments that defined our past and continue to shape our future. Prepare to question assumptions, challenge conventional wisdom, and discover the hidden connections that link the battles of yesterday to the world of today. To truly understand how these clashes steered humanity, we must first acknowledge the limitations of viewing battles solely through a military lens. The prelude to conflict, the societal currents that push nations towards war, often hold just as much, if not more, significance. Consider, for instance, the Punic Wars between Rome and Carthage. While the battles themselves, like Cannae or Zama, were undeniably pivotal, the underlying economic rivalry, the competing imperial ambitions, and the clash of fundamentally different cultures were the true engines driving the conflict. These underlying factors shaped the strategies, the alliances, and ultimately, the long-term consequences of the wars. Without understanding this deeper context, the battles become mere tactical exercises, devoid of their true historical weight. Furthermore, the impact of a battle extends far beyond the immediate aftermath. The Treaty of Westphalia, for example, which concluded the 30 Years' War, is often cited as a turning point in the development of the modern nation-state system. But the war itself, a complex web of religious, political, and dynastic conflicts, had already fundamentally altered the European landscape. The battles, sieges, and campaigns of the war decimated populations, disrupted economies, and fueled widespread social unrest. The Treaty of Westphalia merely codified the new reality, a reality forged in the fires of conflict. The treaty itself was a consequence of the battles, not the cause of the shift. Another crucial layer is the role of technology. Innovation in weaponry, tactics, and logistics can dramatically alter the balance of power on the battlefield and reshape the course of history. The Battle of Alesia, where Julius Caesar besieged the Gallic leader Vercingetorix, is a prime example. Caesar's meticulous engineering, his construction of elaborate fortifications, and his innovative use of siege warfare were decisive factors in his victory. This victory not only cemented Roman control over Gaul, but also showcased the power of Roman engineering and military organization, paving the way for further expansion. The Roman military machine, constantly evolving and adapting, was a key element in their dominance for centuries. Conversely, the failure to adapt to new technologies can lead to catastrophic defeat. The Battle of Agincourt, where a relatively small English army decisively defeated a much larger French force, is a stark illustration of this principle. The English longbow, a weapon that had been refined over centuries, proved devastating against the heavily armored French knights. The French, clinging to outdated tactics and a rigid social hierarchy, were unable to effectively counter the English archers. This defeat had profound consequences for France, prolonging the 100 Years' War and contributing to widespread social and political instability. Now, consider how this applies when you face challenges in your own life. Are you clinging to outdated methods or resisting new technologies? Are you adapting to the changing landscape, or are you being left behind? The lessons of these historical battles, the importance of understanding context, adapting to change, and recognizing the underlying forces at play, are just as relevant today as they were centuries ago. To truly grasp the significance of these battles, we must move beyond the romanticized narratives of heroism and valor and delve into the complex web of factors that shape their outcomes and their lasting impact on the world. Reflecting on this journey so far, we begin to perceive history not as a series of isolated events, but rather as an intricate tapestry woven with threads of ambition, innovation, and consequence. Each battle, a vibrant, often violent stitch in this grand design, pulls on the threads around it, influencing the patterns that emerge. The echoes of those clashes resonate through time, shaping the contours of our present. It's akin to observing a complex ecosystem. The removal of a single keystone species can trigger a cascade of effects, reshaping the entire environment. Similarly, these battles, these pivotal moments of conflict, acted as catalysts, accelerating certain trajectories while diverting others. The true measure of these historical confrontations extends beyond the immediate gains or losses on the battlefield. It lies in the subtle shifts in power dynamics, the nascent ideas that take root in the aftermath, and the unforeseen consequences that ripple outwards, impacting generations to come. The battlefield, in essence, becomes a crucible, forging not only new territories and empires, but also new ideologies and social structures. The victors, often unwittingly, inherit not just the spoils of war, but also the responsibility of shaping the future. A future invariably influenced by the very conflicts that brought them to power. In light of these insights, the path forward in our understanding becomes clearer. We move beyond simply cataloging the events themselves and begin to appreciate the intricate interplay of forces that shape them. It's like understanding the mechanics of a clock. Knowing the individual components is insufficient. We must also comprehend how those components interact, how they drive the intricate dance of gears and springs that ultimately determine the passage of time. Similarly, to truly grasp the significance of these battles, we must delve into the complex web of political, economic, and social factors that contributed to their outcomes and their lasting impact. Drawing these strands together, we see the human story unfolding not as a linear progression, but as a series of branching paths, each determined by the choices made in moments of crisis. These battles, these turning points in history, represent those critical junctures, those moments of decision that irrevocably altered the course of human civilization. They serve as stark reminders of the power of human agency, the capacity for both destruction and creation, and the enduring legacy of choices made under immense pressure. As we pivot towards our final reflection, consider the cumulative effect of these historical turning points. They represent not just moments of conflict, but also opportunities for transformation, for the emergence of new ideas, new technologies, and new social orders. They underscore the interconnectedness of human history, the way in which events in one part of the world can have profound consequences in others. They remind us that the past is not simply a collection of dates and names, but a living, breathing entity that continues to shape our present and inform our future. The tapestry of human history is richer, more complex, and more meaningful precisely because of these threads of conflict, ambition, and consequence. So, as we stand on the precipice of understanding, having traced the echoes of these monumental clashes, what remains? It isn't simply a catalog of victories and defeats, but a profound recognition of the fragility and resilience of human endeavor. These battles, stark and often brutal, serve as potent reminders that the course of civilization is not a gentle stream, but a series of rapids, each surge threatening to capsize the vessel of progress. What we learn is not just about the past, but about the enduring patterns of human behavior that continue to shape our present and will undoubtedly influence our future. Consider the choices we make today, the seemingly small decisions that accumulate and ultimately define our collective trajectory. Are we learning from the past, recognizing the subtle currents of ambition, ideology, and technological innovation that can propel us towards conflict? Or are we, like those who stumbled before us, blinded by short-sighted self-interest, repeating the mistakes that have stained the pages of history with blood? The true legacy of these battles lies not in the monuments erected to the victors, but in the lessons we glean from the fallen, the recognition that even in the darkest hours, the seeds of a better future can be sown. The study of these turning points is not merely an academic exercise. It is an act of self-preservation. By understanding the forces that have driven us to war, we can begin to dismantle the structures of conflict, to foster a culture of empathy and understanding, and to build a world where diplomacy and cooperation prevail over aggression and domination. This is not a utopian dream, but a pragmatic necessity. The stakes are simply too high to ignore the lessons of history. We must strive to become more conscious architects of our destiny, rather than unwitting pawns in a game orchestrated by forces beyond our control. Perhaps the most powerful insight to emerge from this exploration is the recognition of our shared humanity. Regardless of which side of the battlefield our ancestors stood on, we are all inheritors of the consequences of these conflicts. We are all bound together by the threads of history, responsible for shaping a future where such devastation becomes a relic of the past. This requires a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths, to challenge entrenched assumptions, and to embrace a vision of a world where peace and justice reign supreme. The true practice begins now, not in the abstract realm of historical analysis, but in the everyday choices we make, the conversations we have, and the actions we take to build a more just and equitable world. Let us remember the sacrifices made on those battlefields, not as a celebration of violence, but as a solemn reminder of the cost of conflict and a powerful impetus to strive for a future where such sacrifices are no longer necessary. Let curiosity be our compass, empathy our guide, and peace our ultimate destination.